Today on Danger Close Customs, I'm going to show you how to brace your brace, or stabilize your stabilizing brace. That is the SB Technical 1913 pick rail folding brace adapter, and we are going to shore it up to make it more stiff, and then also wrap it to provide you a place to have your cheek weld. So here are all the braces I took off my pistols to be compliant with the ATF rule, and I noticed that a couple of my braces I had not wrapped when I put them out, and so I thought I'd shoot a video, do it yourself, show you how to do this. Hopefully the ATF's arm brace rule gets overturned. Otherwise, there are a lot of SBR tax stamps I have to apply for. So I bought most of these braces when they first came out. They didn't have a metal frame or metal bar version. It was only the polymer bar. And even when they came out with that metal one, it was hard to get and sold out. So most people have this one with the polymer strut. And it works, but there's a little bit of wiggle and play with that polymer piece. So I brace it up using some aluminum bars and paracord wrap to make a nice place to have your cheek weld and give it a clean look over those aluminum bars. The polymer strut with the holes here does look nice and clean compared to having this wrapped. It's a little bit beefier, but it provides you a better surface to actually put your face up next to when you are cheek welding and not shouldering your arm brace. If you want to wrap the whole thing, you can still wrap just the top bar so you have a surface for your cheek weld, and you can still use the bottom and the holes for a sling point attachment. Again, I shoot a lot of times in the cold weather, and so when you're out there in a cold surface against your face versus the paracord wrap, it's very nice. So here's this aluminum bar. You can get this at Lowe's. It's like $5 for probably 3 feet of this. And it's pretty thin. You can cut it easily with a saw or a Dremel. And so I just mark it off and cut myself a couple of bars off of this stick of aluminum. So here I'm going to show you a couple of the options for sling points. I use these clips for sling mounts, and you can either have it roped on to the paracord. This one was a M-lock rail, and I used some long flat nuts to hold it on the other side. I'm going to speed the video up a little bit, save us some time, showing you with these bars on here. You could glue them on. I just like to tape them on. And when you do that, I clamp it down because I really want them to be tight and straight. So I clamp it so it can't move, and then I use some heavy-duty duct tape to tape it into place. I don't recommend just going with the duct tape on here. You do need to wrap it to firm it up even more. The duct tape can move a little bit when it gets hot or provide some sticky residue and is not a clean look. But if you don't have paracord or you are somehow allergic to paracord, I guess you could duct tape this whole thing up several layers and it'd probably do the job. Next, I'll show how I do the paracord wrap. One of my tricks is just wrap around about 1 inch. And then you pull it tight, and you can get a tape measure and measure about 1 inch so you know. And then when you pull the string off of there, you'll have an indicator of how much of the paracord is needed per inch. And then I measure the whole length, and then that's how many times you need to multiply that length of paracord. So I measured out about 6 inches, so now I'm pulling out 6 lengths. And then I add another 12 inches for the way that I wrap it. I need to have the extra 6 inches front and 6 inches back. If I have a choice, I usually put the paracord start on the bottom surface as opposed to putting it on the top. When you do this, sometimes the paracord raises up a little bit and creates a ridge. Maybe you want a little bit of height, so you have the ridge on top. But for this purpose, I like to have it on the bottom to keep it cleaner. But there are some times where you want to have the thicker part on top. And I usually wrap my folding AKs, both under folder stocks and side folding stocks. When it's just a rod of metal, it's nice to have paracord on there to give you some cushion and also a warm place to put your face. So as I'm wrapping this, you want to keep it very tight. Keep tension on the paracord as you pull and wrap it around. And that's the reason why I measure it out and cut. It's a lot easier to manipulate the paracord when you don't have the entire spool hanging off the back. So I like to measure out how much I'm going to need and then cut it. And then I can wrap it a little bit easier and control it a little better. But again, important to have it put on there really tight under tension. And then as you're moving along, kind of push the paracord wraps, coils, down, and so that they're tight, touching each other.
Tight, yeah!
Now when you get to the end, you're going to peel off that masking tape that you used to hold down the loop. And you're going to feed the end of this through that loop. You can use a pick or a small screwdriver to poke that through. So once you get through the loop, you're going to cut it off. I leave an inch or two. Don't cut up right next to it, but an inch or two from the end. And then you're going to want to get a lighter and melt the tip of it so that it doesn't unravel the threads. Remember to give it a few seconds after you torch it to let it cool off. And then you just grab the original front end tip and yank it out with a pair of pliers. You want to yank it really hard so that it pulls the tip that we just cut and melted, pulls it inside underneath. And then now we just need to cut off the side that we just yanked on, cut it and melt that side too. This will also work for your AR buffer tube. If that's the end of your pistol, you can wrap up the buffer tube to make a surface for your cheek weld, especially if you don't like the bike tube foam on the end of your buffer tube. It might be a good solution for your pistol brace dilemma. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like and subscribe.